Hello, I'm Rachel, and I hope you're having a great day. Today I'm going to share with you my hack to keep, to refresh a sourdough starter, but also on how I keep it fresh in the fridge longer. So water actually feeds sourdough quicker. So the sourdough starter, the wetter it is, the quicker it's going to rise and really get bubbly. So I actually put less water in it for the time that it's going to be in the fridge. When I take it out, I add back that difference of water, and then I weigh out the sourdough starter for the next phase that I would use it for. So in this case, feeding it to kind of bring it back to life a little bit more before I use it to make sourdough. So I do a ratio. I've kind of measured out what this jar weighs, which is around 500 grams. And then I take it down to 600 grams. So right now I'm gonna clear it out. And right now I'm at 800 grams. So I need to take 200 grams away. I will write this down in the description box. It really is simple once you're doing it. It's just hard to explain. But I just take it away to basically get the jar and the sourdough starter to equal 600 grams. And that way I know that there is 100 grams of sourdough starter in it. And so from there, all I have to do is add in 100 grams of water and 100 grams of flour, and I'm good to go. I just let that sit for a day. I'll come back. Usually at that point I can use it unless it's been in the fridge a long time and really has died back. I might have to do that feeding process again one more time before using the sourdough starter to make bread or other items. So the only thing I do different when I am putting it away, excuse me, for like a couple of weeks or a week or so is I'll take it to 600 grams with the starter. I'll add in the 100 grams of flour, and then instead of adding 100 grams of water, I'll do 80 grams of water. So then when I come back to start the process of feeding it, like I did just now, I add in that 20 gram difference to get it back to 800 grams. Take it down to 600. I added in my 100 grams of flour. Water, and now I'm adding in flour. So I usually do mostly white flour. I like to add just a tiny bit of rye. You don't need much at all, but I like to add in a little bit of the rye flour and then mostly white flour. Really, you want to use the majority flour that you use in your starter. You want it to represent what you're going to be making your bread out of. So if you're going to be making a primarily whole wheat flour dough or a rye flour. So for this one, I didn't use too much, but then, because the dough I'm going to make isn't too heavy, but if I'm making a really rye heavy bread, then I would add more rye flour. But really, all purpose is your best bet. It's just the go-to, and then you just add little bits of other ones. But that's it. All I do is I measure them out. If this would be one that I was going to put in the fridge, I would just do this with cold water, close it, and put it right in the fridge. Because I want this one to kind of come back to life, I do have this at just about room temperature water that I can touch it easily, and it just barely feels like anything on my skin. And this I will just close and I'll let it sit. Now, if it's really warm, I might actually still use cold water because I want to slow it down so that I have until that next day to be able to feed it and use it. But here we go. I will say, I say next day. This is best used 12 hours after you feed it. But I work a day job and I can't be home at that time. So I'll just kind of eyeball it and see. But usually I'll do this late at night so that I can kind of, as soon as I get home from work the next day, I can do it. Sometimes if I'm really industrious, I'll do it in the morning before I go to work. But that's it, simple as that. I just let it sit out, and you'll see it'll start here and then probably be up around here by the time I'm ready to use it. And really, you're just looking for it to about double in volume, and that way you know it's really happy. If that doesn't happen, do the feeding process again, let it go for another 12 hours. Also make sure that it's not in too warm of a spot, too cold of a spot, but we can talk about that another time. I just wanted to check in real quick. I hope you guys have a great day, and thank you so much.